So I just got off work not too long ago, and I wanted to kind of redo the freeze your credit video because I think it's very informative and very important that we all know the benefits and importance of freezing our credit. So the source and information is going to be brought to you by NerdWallet today because that's what I'm using, and the title is How to Freeze Your Credit. Okay, so they're not sponsoring me, but they definitely can. We would definitely appreciate it over here. All right, so a credit freeze can help prevent identity theft and fraud. Filing one is free and won't harm your credit. A credit freeze keeps the sensitive data in your credit files from being accessed without your specific consent. That can protect you from fraudulent credit applications, even if a criminal has key information such as your birthday and social security number. What is a credit freeze? A credit freeze or a security freeze blocks access to your credit report, protecting against scammers attempting to access your credit reports and open fraudulent accounts. When someone applies for credit using your personal information, a lender or credit issuer typically checks your credit before making a decision. If your credit is frozen, the potential creditor cannot see the data required to approve the application. How to freeze your credit. So, how to freeze your credit report? Contact each three major bureaus, which includes Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, individually though. You have to contact them individually to freeze your credit. So, Equifax's telephone number is 800-349-9960. That number again is 800-349-9960. And you can always go to their website, Equifax. And then Experian is, their telephone number is 888-397-3742. That number again for Experian is 888-397-3742. And you can also go to their website. And then TransUnion, their telephone number is 888-909-8872. That number again is 888-909-8872. And you can go to their website as well to access their information. So freezing your credit at the three major credit bureaus above should be your top priority if this is what you're trying to do. To go the extra mile, you can also freeze your credit at the two lesser known credit bureaus that may have a little bit of information about you. The two additional credit bureaus are Inovis, INNOVIS, and their telephone number is 866-712-4546. That telephone number again is 866-712-4546 for Inovis. And then the second lesser known credit bureau is called the National Consumer Telecom and Utilities Exchange. Again, that's the National Consumer Telecom and Utilities Exchange. And their telephone number is 866-349-5355. That number again is 866-349-5355. Okay? So, information you need to freeze your credit at all three bureaus. It's a good idea to gather all the documents you will need before initiating a credit freeze. While all three credit bureaus have slightly different requirements, here is the information you will generally need to provide: your social security number, your date of birth, and your address. Depending on how you initiate the credit freeze, either online, by phone, or by mail, you might also need the following: a copy of your passport, driver's license, or military ID, a copy of your tax documents, bank statements, or utility bills, proof of address like a utility bill. Note that if you freeze your credit by phone, be prepared to answer some authentication questions too, which is why I decided to go online and do everything, which was a little bit more easy for me to do. Once a credit freeze is in place, it secures your credit file until you lift the freeze. You can unfreeze your credit temporarily when you want to apply for like a new credit card or a loan or things of that nature. How to unfreeze your credit. You go to the credit bureau website and use the account you use to freeze the credit in the first place. You may also be able to unfreeze your credit by phone or by postal mail if you can provide certain verifying information. Unless you use postal mail, unfreezing typically takes effect within a few minutes of requesting it. However, what I ran across was that typically I would unfreeze 48 hours before going for a credit card loan or anything of that nature, so to make sure that everything goes through solidly, you know what I mean? Because I've lifted it and it will say it's lifted on the bureau's website or what have you, but then when the creditor or what have you runs the credit, it's still showing as blocked. So give a good 24 to 48 hours. I would say 48 hours just to be on the safe side. Let's see. Reasons for unfreezing your credit. So that could be many reasons. If you want to apply for like a buy now pay later and they want to run your credit, or like if it's just for a particular item or a particular, if you can inquire as far as which credit bureau that they're going to be utilizing, then you can just go ahead and unfreeze for that particular credit bureau. But let's see what else. And what was interesting to me was that you can freeze your child's credit as well. And when you freeze your child's credit, of course, they have to be under the age of 16. But if you request a freeze on your child's credit, the credit bureau must create a credit file for the child, assuming they don't already have one, then freeze it. So they that forces them to create that credit file for your child. And in addition to supplying the information required for an adult freeze, you're going to also need to provide paperwork to verify that the child's identity and proof that you have standing to freeze the child's credit. Okay, so another thing that I found interesting was that you can freeze the credit of a spouse or an incapacitated adult at all three bureaus as well. You'll need to provide the, of course, required documents for each scenario. Okay, so when to get a credit freeze? If you're not actively shopping for a credit card or a loan or a car or things of that nature, it will be wise to freeze your credit. You never know who has access to your information, and this would just be like another safety guard that you can put in place for free. Now that freezing your credit and unfreezing your credit is free, NerdWallet recommends that all consumers protect themselves in this way. It's an easy way to reduce or mitigate any risk associated with losing your money. um, Again, a few cons of freezing your credit is that, of course, it could be a hassle, unfreezing, freezing. Your insurance rate could increase if your state allows to use your credit information to set up rates. In some cases, insurers can't access your frozen files and might not give you a discount on good credit scores that you may be entitled to. Some people don't even care about stuff like that. I wouldn't if that was the case. Like, okay, but whatever. To each his own. You may forget whether your credit is frozen or unfrozen, but of course, if you have the app or log on to your website or into your account, you will be able to see whether it is or is not. Um, what else? Yes, do not confuse a credit freeze, which is free and mandated by federal law. Do not confuse that with a credit lock, which the bureaus could ask a fee for. You know what I'm saying? So don't confuse the two. But let me go ahead and read. It says both a credit freeze and a credit lock block access to your credit report. However, a credit lock is a product offered voluntarily by a credit bureau, which may charge a fee. Equifax credit lock is free. TransUnion offers a credit lock through its True Identity product or as part of their broader paid subscription. Experience Lock is available only as part of a paid subscription package. Credit freeze services are mandated by federal law and are free. Credit locks may offer convenience, such as being opened and closed with a finger swipe on an app, but they offer fewer legal protections than a freeze. So go with a freeze. It's free and it's mandated by law, and yeah, you most likely don't have to pay a fee. So who can access frozen credit reports? A frozen credit report may be accessed. A credit freeze makes your credit reports inaccessible to most people, with a few exceptions. You you can access your own records, including getting your free annual credit report. You can also check your free credit report summary and score from NerdWallet while your credit reports are frozen. Your current creditors still have access, as do debt collectors. Marketers can see your credit report for the purpose of sending you offers. In certain circumstances, government or child support agencies can see them. You can still give permission to an employer or a potential employer to check your credit through the version they see omits certain details. Though the version they see may omit certain details. So yeah, I felt the need to redo this video and hope to death that the audio is better, that the visuals are better. I don't know. I'm trying to use what I have until I can move it on up. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. It was definitely something I found useful, and especially if, let's say, you're making a major purchase like purchasing a car or purchasing a home, because a lot of people are going to see your information, and you never know what people's intentions are, and you just want to go ahead and protect yourself and add that extra layer of support in protecting your moolah, your money, everything you worked so hard for. Okay, so yeah, I hope this was helpful. So I'm gonna let you guys go because I gotta go. All right, bye.
Bring that to the takeaway. If you want to bring something to the table, go to IHOP, go to a restaurant where you can get rated. Because if I bring something to the table, you'll be mad, it's going to be another man.